Hello, everyone. I hope lunch was great. Thank you for the clicker. So I'm going to talk about inclusion. And I know I have a really long, kind of extended description of what we're going to talk about, but we'll break it down into much smaller pieces and chunks. And these deliverables are pretty easy. I think we've all heard of diversity and inclusion and identity, and I wanted to kind of put that into a perspective for everyone to look at that on your project teams. So we're going to talk about building blocks, skills mastery, disclosure, and zero sum. That's kind of what breaks down the talk for you. And initially, when I talked about inclusive project solutions and how they intersect, I really got excited about looking at our host and how they are intentional about every stage of the project. We're talking about architecture, technology, humanity with social responsibility, and of course, abilities with assets. But guess what? Lead developers are already doing that with their teams, tech, and tools. So hopefully everybody's gotten some great tools today. Yes, round of applause, we got some great tools. I love what I've learned, and I like to stack my learning because it's completely changing, and I like to get you on the front end of that change as we talk more. So we need to, as companies, organizations, and individuals, be intentionally inclusive. I mean, it sounds a little elementary, but you would be surprised at how often that is not done. These are the building blocks, obviously, for strategic advocacy and harmony on multi-ability project solutions. We even talked about distance solutions where each and every member of the team are distributed around the world. So text messaging, that was an inclusive product. That was created for someone who is sight impaired. So it's inclusive, right? Does everybody use text messaging? Is that awesome? So when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we're not talking about making something exclusive for an individual or group of people. We're talking about touch screens that were created for neuro challenges. We're talking about curb cuts and power doors. And yes, that really larger than life, what do I call it, a stall in a bathroom, that was created for inclusive reasons and for mobility challenges, but it's really cool at the airport when you have about 5 pieces of luggage and maybe 3 or 4 kids, right? So it's not about creating something different, it's creating something that works for everyone. So I like to talk about culture in a sense that makes sense. Everybody thinks culture is something personal, and it is to some degree, but every workplace has its own culture. What is it? It's an environment at a company, the company's characteristics that creates an experience. So at your company, you have this environment, the company's characteristics, and together they create your experience. So true skills mastery happens in a conscious culture. Why is that important? Well, it's important because of what you see on the screen. I'm not going to go into a lot of details. I do have a very colorful slide, but I want to focus on empathy. I think I heard one of the other speakers talk about empathy. Empathy and sympathy are 2 entirely different things. And if you're not aware of the difference, you are going to find yourself empathizing with someone that has a disability and not taking advantage or basically avoiding the sympathy. The sympathy is what I felt originally. When I roll into a wheelchair, usually a manual, short wheelchair, I find, and I've found in the past, that I've had people literally pat me on the head. Like an animal, like a pet, like they were uncomfortable with the situation. That's more sympathy. I held it together, but just so you know, that's sympathy. Empathy is more walking in my shoes, not saying you know how I feel, but giving me the opportunity to show you what I can be without the wheelchair. We're going to leave it there, but take a look at this if you can. Take pictures of it if you need to, but this is a great conscious culture roadmap going forward. Now, this, again, seems obvious, but we want to talk about equality. It's really all about equality. And equality and inclusion is about different parts of the business, but it's also talking about identity. I think that's what's missing. We talk about D&I, diversity and inclusion, but we also have identity as part of that mixture. We have our own identity, whether it's a choice or otherwise, but that type of diversity is what we bring to the table as technicians and as conscious culture environments. We can't forget that. What I found is inclusion is about the people, the most important part of your business. And if you agree with that and you understand the social responsibility that's connected to that, you'll find that at the end of the day, the walls can come tumbling down, but at the end of the day, as long as you have the people and then the product and service, you'll find that you have this culture that includes everyone. So respecting the rights of others opens the door for full disclosure. Full disclosure means that I rolled in a wheelchair. It's pretty obvious that I have a mobility challenge. Maybe it's not. I've seen people step out of their wheelchair. At first, it scared me. I thought this was an act of God happening right before me. But mobility challenges, like anything else, is gradient. In my case, I don't walk at all. In a lot of cases, someone may walk a little. Others may have balance problems. So inclusion and respecting each and every individual means that they have different levels of maybe disability or changes that you would need to have disclosed. Now, by law, no one has to tell you that they have a disability. But if you have a culture that's open, then someone would want to tell you, and they would be able to take advantage of reasonable accommodations within the workplace, which makes them work better in the environment that exists. So I'd like to talk about what this looks like today. Cognitive diversity is important for the reasons that you see on the screen. Diversity is broken into a lot of pieces. I think I mentioned it about diversity of thought, but even more important than that, you have cognitive diversity. It's the inclusion of people who have different styles of problem solving and can offer unique perspectives because they think differently. Yes, we might look differently, but we also think differently. Next, we have identity diversity. That's race, gender, sexual orientation. And the reason that's important is because it describes the way individuals of groups define themselves, not just groups within your team, but the groups that you're building for. So in this example I have here, there's different people at the table, but they all have similar to almost identical ideas. So today's collaboration is one-to-one. For the most part, you have similar ideas that caveat just a little bit. And that doesn't really create a solution that we should be having going forward. But when there are different people at the table, you don't just have one-to-one communication, you don't just have a single idea or a single breath of opportunity, but you now have ideas from each person that are contributing to the total solution coming from totally different perspectives. This changes the game. This adds so many more people, so many more opportunity, and so many more solutions because now your company looks like your clientele, the person you're building and solutioning for. And what does that do? I don't know, it turns off my presentation. What that does is it provides an opportunity for new ideas, right? So new ideas is what we're looking for. And what is new ideas? Innovation. We want to do the same thing differently, or at the very least, disrupt what we're doing to the point where what we are showing and providing is new and exciting, which I totally love. Microsoft gets it. I saw this online and I got so excited because so many times within the disability community, we, and I can speak for myself personally, feel like a problem. There's guilt, there's shame, there's getting in the way, which is my new role. I think I'm going to change my job description to getting in the way, because until we get in the way, we don't know that there's a problem. And I'm okay with getting in the way, but Microsoft gets it. Autism specifically is something that they're being focused on and hiring for, but even more importantly, the quote below, that autism is not a bug, it's a feature. It's someone coming into the room that thinks differently. And that's really important when you're looking at diverse teams. Guess who else gets it? Lead developer gets it. Can we give them a hand? I kept passing the table, and I'm like, what's this stuff on the table? And I don't have my badge on, but I'm like a green dot. And I was like, how awesome is that? That's diversity in action. So if I don't want to be spoken with, if I want to make sure that my pronouns are clear, I get to just put a sticker on my badge. It's subtle, it's passive, it's personal, it's also intentional. And I love that about what's happening outside. So inclusion is bigger than disability, right? But let's focus on one of the many intersections. I'm a woman of color, and pretty recently I became a woman of color with a disability. And so I'm gonna focus on the disability piece. It's not the only piece, but it's an intersection that I like to break down a little bit more. Take a look at what disability looks like. It's a definition that's common, yet uncommon. Not everyone describes it the same, but for the purposes of what we're doing today, I'd like you to take a look at the definition, mostly because we're gonna have a little fun later. I want to talk about some stats. 61 million with an M, adults in the US live with a disability. 26%, that's 1 in 4 people in the US have some type of disability. Cognitive disabilities are one of the most common disabilities around. So I'm going to ask everyone in this row directly in front of me to please stand up. I know it's after lunch, I'm sorry. Everyone, come on, you guys. This row has been selected. You're among the selected. So I'm going to count the first row, and I'd like you to do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 and 6 can sit down, and then we'll do the same going forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can get back up. Yes, you. 5, 6. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. You can sit. Second row. No, you can stay standing. And first one on this row, please have a seat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can sit down. 6. You can sit down. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you'll help me continue, I'm getting confused. 5 and 6. Sit down. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 6. Yep, you're 5, sir. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 6. You two gentlemen, help me out on that back row. First 4 remain standing. Last 2 have a seat. So the reason I'm doing this, you'll see in a moment, and I love to do visuals, if you don't mind, if 4 out of every 6 people have a disability, for the purposes of this exercise, everyone standing have disability. That's how many people just in this row have either a visible or an invisible disability. Thank you for your time. Let's get some applause for these people. So if you have at least 6 people at your company, 4 is very likely to have a visible or an invisible disability. Why is that important? Why the visual? That's a lot of people in that center row, and the numbers are changing drastically. So we're going to get vulnerable. Everybody ready to get vulnerable with me? Yes? No? Log on to this site here. We're going to do a poll. And while you're getting the poll together, Adam's going to get that up and running. Go ahead and get that poll up for me, if you will. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. In the introduction, we talked a little bit about that. I can tell you that personally, I was not always in this beautiful contraption that you see before you. I actually was upright and walking until I wasn't. Now that's the sound I was looking to hear. All right, let's give Adam a hand. Tech dude. So as I started to say, I wasn't always in this beautiful contraption here. I was walking, running, and very active at home and with my family. I was an IBM engineer traveling the world, having a really great time. I had recently received a scholarship, actually, from Harvard to go on to get my PhD, so life was good until it wasn't. I heard that I had a brain condition. It was a malformation at birth. So I technically should have been in this wheelchair when I was born. But when the doctors asked me not to freak out, what do you think I did? Yeah, I totally freaked out because he went on to tell me that my brain had fallen into my spinal cord. So I had to go in and have brain surgery. And when I had brain surgery, I thought I'd be able to, live forward and have all the wonderful things that I already had planned in queue. And that didn't happen because I never walked back out. This is being recorded, so I won't go into much detail, but that was about 5 or 6 years ago. So life can take a pivot at any point. So I'm asking these questions for a reason. I like this. Okay, so 24%, temporary disabilities, right? We're talking accident, injury, illness. And if you've ever had anything break temporarily, you get it. Or if you have a family member, you get it. So that's good to know. So temporary disabilities. Let's start this second one. So 95% of people in this room know someone with a disability and not sure. Okay, that's good to know. And the next one, Adam? This is the big one. How inclusive is your workplace? So the first question was, do you have a disability? Obviously, you don't have to disclose. Thank you for those who did, and no one can see your answers, including me. Do you know someone with a disability? And then finally, how inclusive is your workplace? Okay. Wow, those numbers are moving, but 41%. That's good to know. So based on the definition of disability that we looked at before, I hope you feel comfortable knowing that this is what's going on in the room and that needs to change if we're able to keep up with what's about to happen. So Adam, you can shut that down for me, please, and we can move on to the next slide. Because if you're not already doing this, you are already behind. If you're not recognizing inclusion, if you're not dealing with exclusion, if you're not hiring for diversity of thought and solution, you're already behind. How do I know this? I had the opportunity to work with some futurists. And it doesn't mean that they know what the future is. It just means that they are looking at data, they're looking at information that's already been provided, and forecasting to see what's going to change. This is a busy slide. It's supposed to look crazy because there's going to be a major disruption that is coming, and they call it the scramble. The scramble is going to blur all the lines. It's going to block out all of the current conditions of thought that we have today. And IFTF is actually an organization that does a lot of these systems for futurist forecasting. They work with affinity agents and corporations and organizations. It's a ripe time for diversity because of everything that's happening based on what they're saying. Fortunately or unfortunately, I've been talking about some of this stuff for the last 6 years because diversity is something that's not going to be an issue anymore. We need to be able to manage our neurological trainer, if you will, so that we can mentally understand and accept the changes that are on the horizon. So, innovation roles, leading edge management for positions. They're going to follow key trends. That's what's happening in this picture right here. They're shaping work, and they're obviously having impact on workers, organizations, and leadership. Let's go into a little bit more detail on that. There's several waves, right, and markers that they've looked at to see what that's going to look like because of the trends. If you look at the young people who started to become adults in 2010, you'll see that these are digital natives. Not only are they digital natives, you also have, I think, 23 years old or younger in 2019 are going to be XR natives. So if they're 15 or younger in 2019, digital natives is not even an option anymore. That's something we talk about a lot. But even more importantly, they're going to be AI natives. They're going to be living in a time where AI is so common that they're going to use it for rehabilitation. They're going to use it for work and business, medical, and science. So the individuals that are coming into management right now, we need to prepare for them because they could care less what your title is. What they're going to be looking at are contributions. So are you a CEO, C-level, CXO? Doesn't matter. What have you contributed as an individual, as a company, and as an organization? We can start to see that a little bit more even now. But gosh, China has a gaming curfew. We cannot put those type of brakes on our digital natives or our XR natives because they are moving faster than the speed of light, because so is transformation, so is technology, and this is what business is going to look like. So today, or at least maybe 5 or 10 years ago, business looked a little bit more centralized. Then we're in the stage now where it's decentralized. But going forward, it's actually going to be fluid. There are no edges. There's no center. There's no hierarchies. In the next decade and beyond, most organizations will have no center. The hierarchies will come and go, but they cannot be controlled. And the organization will grow from the edges. Are we ready for that? Are we ready for what's to come? Are we building our organizations to manage some of these changes? And are we creating and cultivating a fluid culture? Here's the good news. More flexibility is going to allow us to scale up and down with these fluid cultures. Obviously, there are going to be more opportunities to make a living because we won't have to be sitting in an office. We're starting to see that happen. Some of what we're going to be doing and making money on is kind of like social media. You see it happening. Individuals who find a product, they get a following, and they end up becoming multimillionaires without a degree. So that's changing a lot. It's the greatest opportunity for identity, diversity, and inclusion. Here's the bad news. The bad news is that criminals are better at shape-shifting than most companies. So because there'll be fewer traditional jobs, how will we create and advance working in fluid organizations? That's so important, and that's why we need to start ecosysteming now. Why is that important? Well, for diversity and inclusion, it's important because we are already doing a lot of this. I can't work within a square box. And as technicians, hopefully you can't either. So what we need to focus on, what we need to look at is your scorecard at your organization. But where does that start? That starts attitudinally. Because we talk about, well, we want to have change, not much of it is actually even concrete or architectural change. That change is usually in the attitude of the individual and the person leading your projects and your programs and your companies. Once the attitudinal change happens, then the architectural change is easy. What does your scorecard look like? So what you take back with you today to your companies, your organizations, your teams, and your groups is the inclusion of starting what we now see as going backwards, right? We create the solution, and then the bugs are taken out. But those bugs have a name. Those bugs are each and every individual with a disability that accesses your program. Make sure your websites are accessible. If you're presenting a presentation, whether it's online or in person, maybe you can get that font to be a little bit bigger for someone who might be sight impaired. There's an entire language called person first language, where you can communicate to an individual with a disability or each other using the person first language. Not a disabled person, but a person with a disability. Why is that important? We're respecting each and every individual in the room, on the project, and on the other side of our solution. Is your project available? Can everyone access it? Is it accessible? Simply having this ramp here for me today allowed me to get on stage so that I could see each and every one of you. This is something that seems simple, but you'd be surprised at how many times I enter a room or get to a building and I can't get in. In my case, I have about 2 different ramps. I have this chair, I have a manual chair, I have a stool, and what I've done in the past is if I call first and ask if the building is accessible, this is a very structural example, and they say yes, and I get there, and the first thing I see are steps. I just go back to my car, I get my own ramp, and I get in that building. Why is that important? Well, besides my loving to get in the way, it's a conversation that I'm having without words. Usually within the first 2 to 3 minutes, the manager comes out and not really very proud of himself or herself, and they, at that moment, say, how can we change this? Well, they got their license, they were able to erect the building, but is it accessible? And when we talk about accessible, we're talking about the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. And that's what we're faced with today in this fluid culture. The individuals that you will be employing, the individuals that you probably will be working for in the very near future are not going to really care about how many degrees you have. They need to know your degrees of inclusion, how willing you are to include everyone in the room, everyone on the project, and to create a project and a project team that looks at everybody first, not at the very end or once Yvette shows up with a ramp and a stool and multiple wheelchairs to get into your virtual buildings. So with that, I want to thank you for your time and your patience, and I hope to see each and every one of you soon. Have a great day.